Well, Bishop Barron, it's wonderful to have you here in the UK this week. It's been a long time coming, but we finally managed to get you to Westminster.
Yeah.
It's been a busy few days so far, and it's only halfway through the trip.
They have been busy days, but really good days. And just, today being at Hyde Park, Speaker's Corner, being at Abbey Road, being at 10 Downing Street, and now in the Houses of Parliament. It's not a bad London day. No, I've enjoyed it immensely and had a couple of really good conversations with some groups here. Loved talking to the members of Parliament just the other night. So the whole trip has been a thrill for me and a marvelous opportunity to bring together, faith and culture, which is kind of my bag, So I've enjoyed this very much.
Great. Well, it's been a joy having you over here. And actually, one of the things that we've spoken about these last few days is how on both sides of the Atlantic, in the US and the UK, there are a lot of Catholics who are engaged in public life, who stand for elected office in Congress, in our Parliament. Why do you think it is that so many Catholics feel that call to engage in public life?
Yeah, it is interesting, and not that I would agree with every Catholic who's involved in public life. Some I think have wandered far from their Catholicism, but I think the point is well taken, that there is something perhaps within the Catholic ethos that lends itself toward this kind of involvement. And I think it's, an incarnational sensibility that we're meant to bring the faith into concrete practice. I'd like to think it's a Vatican II influence. The laity are meant to sanctify and Christify the world, and one of the ways to do that is through political action. We don't have a fuga mundi, a flight from the world sort of spirituality, but rather a Christification of the world. So through the arts and through entertainment and through journalism and business and politics, we're meant to change the world. So I hope that does indeed come through the Catholic formation. I often think about this scene from the very end of the Bible in the book of Revelation when you have the heavenly Jerusalem. And the mark of the heavenly Jerusalem is there's no temple in it. It's a very curious thing. And the reason is that the whole city's become a temple. The city has become a place where God is praised. So you don't need a specialized holy place. The whole place has become sanctified. That's the goal. And that's, I hope, what animates people as they enter into public life.
Great. Well, the theme of this week has been what Christianity brings to the public conversation, which certainly from my point of view has been a very uplifting message. We often speak about the challenges faced by the church when she enters into the public sphere.
Yeah.
But what do you see as the opportunities for the church to contribute to the public conversation?
Well, they're extraordinary. I mean, there's kind of a classic perennial contribution the church makes in terms of the moral life. And so the great moral issues that face a society. In my country, obviously, the abortion battle's been going on for a long time. The church taking a strong pro-life stance against abortion, against euthanasia, but also against, that indifference to the poor and so on and so forth. Catholic social teaching transcends the liberal-conservative split in our politics. So we certainly address the great moral issues of the day. But I would hope, too, especially now, what we bring is a keener sense of the transcendent. I would guess most of our politicians, you go back 50, 60 years, would have had a basically religious formation and outlook. That is not true anymore, right, in this increasingly secularized context. So I think the religious person brings to politics the sense of God. I mean, we say in the States that we're a nation under God, which is not just a pious platitude. That's a very, very serious statement that everything we do politically is under the aegis and moral authority of God. And when God is lost, then our politics, by a very short route, becomes lost too. So I would hope that religious people bring that sensibility, that ethos into the political arena, that every political figure is under judgment in that biblical sense. They're not operating, simply within a secular political framework, but they're under the judgment of God. I hope our politicians of a religious bent bring that to the conversation.
That's really good to hear. Really good to inspire us in this country as we go about our work, trying to build up the common good. And just on that, as a final note, I wondered if you had any particular message for Christians who maybe are engaged in politics now at the elected level or are thinking about it, what would you say to people like that?
Get involved. Don't be afraid of that. Don't bifurcate your life into like a sacred secular realm. Your whole life is sacred in one sense. So if you've got interest in politics and history and law and so on, get involved. You know, one thing I've said over the years when Catholics complain about, you know, the abortion laws or whatever it is, and I'll say, yeah, but you, I mean you in the broad sense, you elected these people. So it's the lack of real Catholic commitment to the political process that's the problem, but also the lack of people that feel strongly about these things in politics. So get involved and enter the fray, you know, but as a happy warrior, you know, enter with a spirit of kind of joie de combat. But don't be afraid of it, I would say. Enter into it and do it with intelligence and with commitment and with, you know, a keen sense of moral purpose. So don't bifurcate, get involved and bring your faith to bear. You know, otherwise it's not going to happen.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you so much. I'm sure that will inspire many more people here and hopefully back in your home country as well. And well, thank you again for your time. It's been a real joy having you with us.
My pleasure being with you, James.
And all best wishes and prayers for the rest of your trip.
Thanks.